had this guy in my hands since about 10:30 this morning. I've taken a bunch of pictures, inside, outside, walking down my road, zooming, not zooming. I'm going to show you exactly how they turned out, and I'll let you guys make your own decisions on if it's passable or not. So I see no need to dilly-dally around. Let's just jump into the photos. So the biggest thing I've noticed is that if the light is not great, boy oh boy, the pictures start to suffer very, very quickly. This is one of the first pictures I took. This is just a portion of my backyard. And I mean, look, at first glance, it's not horrible, okay? You could post this on Instagram, Twitter, wherever, and no one's going to bat an eye at it, okay? Let's zoom in a little bit even. Still not horrible, not bad. If you zoom all the way in, yeah, it starts to get a little noisy, a little grainy in the low light. But let's look and see what Google can do to it with its auto setting, because I really think Google Photos stuff really generally helps. Does that look better to you guys? Maybe the color looks a little bit brighter. All right, so then I took a picture of my boy Rutherford, who you might often see in the background of videos. And same thing here. Let's punch in on his face here. Is this passable to you? I think it's passable to me. I'm not horrified by these results like people are saying that you're going to be. Let's go to auto. Warms up the tones a little bit. A little bit more contrasty. This is my girl Copper. Detail in the grass is fine. She's a little blown out on her white fur. HDR is not incredible on this phone. Let's go to auto. Warms it up a bit. That's a passable picture on Instagram, Twitter, etc. Look, if you're going to try and use your smartphone to have a picture printed out and blown up on your wall, this ain't it. Keep looking, because this ain't the phone. Now here's where things start to fall apart a little bit for me. This is my koi pond. Now there's shade here, right? So you get into the brighter areas. Let's let this clean up here. Not bad. You get into the darker areas though, and it starts to really get noisy. It starts to really get noisy in the shadows. Look how noisy that is up around there. That is not great. That is not real good at all. Let's see if Google Photos can help at all. Let's zoom back in here and see if... I mean, look, Google Photos ain't going to do much with that kind of noise. Good news is you're zoomed way out. You can't really see it as bad. Here is just a quick selfie that I took. Obviously, it's washed out on the side of my head with the light. But overall, let's do the beard hair test via Unbox Therapy. Is that passable to you? Probably. Probably passable. If you use that, man, that's not too bad, right? That's not too bad. Now this was with the portrait mode turned on. So you'll see, look at the backgrounds here. Turn portrait mode on. Bokeh back here. Obviously it messed up my hair there. They all do. But again, hey, look at that. That's a pretty good little portrait selfie. If I'm not crazy, that doesn't look so bad. Picture of a flower. This is always hard for every phone. These colors are really tough on this rose. Similar things that we're seeing here. And this is actually something I want you guys to go back and look at my camera breakdown from the social media post that I pointed out. I pointed out the grain in some of these photos. I was right. Those were Surface Duo photos, and I knew it, and I was right. Let's go over to this. And now, I mean, hey, it's a little oversaturated in the rose itself, but all camera phones do that. Could you post that on Instagram? Absolutely. This picture here, I tried to take another picture of the koi, and this one really kind of bummed me out a little bit because this picture is just noise from top to bottom. It did not know what to do at all with this photo. It is noisy from top to bottom. This is probably the worst picture I've taken. I've taken on a phone that wasn't using like a telephoto lens in a really long time. Don't know that Google Photos auto mode is going to fix this too much. Yeah, no. Yeah, no. Just not great there. And then here's one where the HDR lost its damn mind. I do not know what in the hell the HDR is doing here, but it went nuts on this one. This might be worse than the other one. Lower light, man, it gets dodgy. Now here's one where I took a picture of a bush outside and it freaked the fuck out, and this is what it saved. Okay, luckily, it also saved the correct picture, but it also saved this. So here's the picture I took. It also saved this. And actually, I mean, let's let it clean up here. That's not too bad. There are times that this thing takes totally serviceable pictures, and then other times that you're like, what happened? So here's one where I wanted to really punish the camera. So this is back here behind me in the studio. Not great lighting back here behind me. Most of the lighting is focused this way. What can you say? It's a little noisy. So then I thought, let's really fuck with this thing. So I did the first step in zoom, and that looks pretty bad. Then I went in another step, and it looks really bad. And then I went in the final step, and it did this thing again. But this time, it didn't even save the actual image. It was so bad that the phone itself said, no, you don't need to look at this. It's bad. Don't worry about it. So then we went back outside. Let's try telephoto. Let's try the zoom, because it's not a telephoto lens. It's just a digital crop. Let's try it outside. So here's the side of my fence. Again, in good light, it looks fine. It's not amazing, but it looks fine. So then we push the zoom in a step. Not great. Pretty noisy. Not great. In another step. Pretty horrible. In the final step. Pretty much unusable. And that would be, you know, God, that's what, a 3x zoom or 4x zoom, something like that. And then last but not least, there's a church right down the road from me that I like to use as a photo sample here. And this one confuses me, and it may just be because it's brighter behind it. You know, I can say this, it didn't blow out the sky, but it's really washed out here in the front, and I'm wondering now if Google Photos magic can salvage this. That looks a heck of a lot better. That really helped. You're still grainy in some places, but boy, oh boy, did that really help. So I guess my biggest takeaway right now is that it is not a good camera. It is a passable camera for social media. The biggest problems that I have with it have more to do with just, let's open the thing up, let's start the camera, and generally speaking, you know, here's something that you might want to think about. Whichever side you have the camera icon on is the side it's going to launch. So I'm used to having the camera on the right side of the screen, but that launches the camera facing towards me, right? So then what you have to do is you've now got the camera facing towards you, then you've got to fold it around, and now it's facing away from you. And you saw how it flipped around a couple times. What tends to happen for me is when I do that motion, I tend to make the camera flip around, and I also tend to accidentally swipe and change through the modes. So I'm on photo now. Let's move it around. See, now I've even opened something. Where is the camera? Now the camera's in the gallery, because while I'm trying to flip it around, you're doing stuff because you're touching the screen to flip it around. How easy is it to use? I mean, what, are you supposed to just use the bezels, I guess, and get it around? But then at what point does it know that it's flipped? It still didn't do it. Now it did it. It's just awkward. It's just awkward at times to use. So let me demonstrate my best attempt at opening the camera and then flipping it around to take a picture. So we go boom, and now I'm in panorama because I swiped over twice from photo, evidently. That's frustrating. So what I would suggest to do here is to organize your apps in such a way that the apps you want to launch over here need to be over here. You've also got the power button twice to launch the camera. And that actually launched it on the correct side, the side that I think makes the most sense. So maybe this is a situation where you don't even worry about the icon. Maybe this is a situation where you want to take a picture, you open it up, you get it into that position, and then you go ahead and you do your double tap, and there's your camera. Maybe that's the way that it needs to be happening. That's kind of the thing that I'm still struggling with, is just the overall ergonomics of just getting the camera to do what I want it to do. You are going to take fewer pictures with this than your current phone, almost assuredly. One, because you're not going to be wowed by them, but two, just because it's a little awkward to just get there, you know? It's not a huge deal. It's not the end of the world for me to have to, you know, do that. You know, I'm in the camera now, so it's not horrific, but it's different, and it's going to take you a moment or two to get used to it. So that's my thoughts on the camera. I have not found a working Gcam port yet. The ones I've tried glitch out really badly. They do not understand how this phone works. When you go to switch lenses, it doesn't understand. There's no other phones with one camera, so it has a really hard time with this. So I'm going to keep looking for a Gcam build. I'm going to keep watching out for one. When I see one, I'm going to bring it to you. I have kind of high hopes for Gcam because Google Photos auto stuff really made a big difference here. So I'm hoping that Gcam is even a step better than that. So as soon as I find a good Gcam, or if you guys find a good Gcam, send it to me and I'll test it out. Find me on Twitter, Scary If Literal on Twitter, and shoot it my way. So that's all I've got for this one, guys. Until the next time, stay nerdy, my friends. If you enjoy my content, please consider becoming a Scary If Literal member. You'll get access to a whole bunch of emoticons to use with live streams and a shout out on an upcoming video. Thanks as always for your continued support.